All right, are we good? Are we live? I think we are. Hello all and welcome back to the Women's Football Chat Live. We're back with yet more Women's Champions League Knockout Play-off round action. Tonight we begin the second legs tonight, and tomorrow night we'll be watching all four of the second legs to see who will progress to the quarterfinals. We kick off as Real Madrid host Paris FC, a great game last week where Paris FC took an early lead. Real Madrid managed to make it then 3-1 as they turned that tie around. Paris FC with a late goal though does keep it alive heading in to tonight. Real Madrid the home side, and with that advantage on aggregate, Harry, it probably makes them strong favourites for this evening.
Yeah, it does. It gives them a helping hand, and they'll back themselves to get the job done tonight and see themselves through to the quarterfinals. But at the end of the day, with a one-goal margin, we come into tonight and it's all to play for. Paris FC, as you say, grabbing that very important second goal to at least give them something to fight with this evening. But it's the crunch time, and which side are going to be at their best when the hammer falls. I'm expecting another close game. I think it could go right down to the wire. And yet the fact they're only separated by one goal in aggregate is certainly going to make this a pretty tense tie.
Absolutely. And while the English sides may have made their contests, well, not really contests, I think this and the game between Wolfsburg and Juventus will be much closer. I think there's every chance Paris FC can get something. I think they competed very well with Real Madrid. And then Real just had that little bit more quality than Paris FC, and they found the route to goals. And yeah, I think Real, it's finally starting to click, but there's still aspects that just don't work. I thought they were pretty poor defensively in that first leg, and I think a more efficient attack would punish them. And, if we're looking at them going deeper in this competition, they match up against Barcelona in the quarterfinals. If they get through this tie, you can't really get away, with relying on the attack missing chances against Barcelona. So I think that's something they've got to patch up. But apart from that, I thought their attacking play was really nice. I think they've got a lot of players in those attacking areas who combine really effectively. Linda Caicedo was an absolute star in that first leg. And if she can put on another show like that, show that individual quality that we know she possesses, then that can be a difference maker for the home side. Well, let's begin by looking at the lineups then. And as for Real Madrid, no changes from the side that took on Paris FC last week. 4-3-3 for Real Madrid in goal. Misa Rodriguez keeps her place in between the sticks. Merla Froms is back from injury, only amongst substitutes today though. In the back four, Eva Navarro continuing her spot at right back. Mendes, Lacra and Ribeiro making up the rest of the back four. In the midfield three, it's Sara de Brits, Angeldal and Caroline Weir, one of the catalysts behind their comeback in the first leg. On one wing, it looks like it'd be Athenea. On the other, Linda Caicedo, and then Naomi Feller through the middle. Now, I say on one wing it looks like it's going to be Athenea, one wing Linda Caicedo, but actually what we saw in the game or what we saw in this reverse fixture last week is that it was a very fluid, very dynamic front line. How can they use that tonight, Harry, to hurt Paris FC again?
Yeah, it worked very well last night. I think that last week, I think that it's one of those where, as a defender, it's very, very difficult to work out what you're meant to do when those players keep swapping positions. Not only can they double up on the same side, but with the constant switching and the constant movement, as a defender, you will be, in the pre-match, you will be assigned your player. If you're the right back for Paris FC tonight, your job would be to stick with Linda Caicedo. But what do you do when they cross over? You don't move positions, and suddenly you're dealing with a new threat. So Real Madrid, I really like the rotation. They kept things fresh, they kept things different, and it meant that every time they came forwards, that Paris FC defence had to deal with something slightly different, or something they hadn't quite faced yet in the game. So although they were slow to get going, I think sticking with the same 11 for Real Madrid is the right way to go about it. They had the quality to win last week, and they should have the quality to win again today.
Yeah, absolutely. As for Paris FC then, well, they have made one change to the starting lineup. Some looking at it as a bit of a 5-back, but I actually think it will be a slight position change for Ndongala. In goal though, Mylene Chavas keeping her spot. A back four then of Liagre, Hussein, Grebaval and Bergoet. In the midfield three, Pika, Korosek and Le Mogode. On one wing, it is going to be Garbino. On the other, Ndongala. And leading the line tonight, a slightly different role for Clara Matteo. So Azaro dropped out of the side, Liagre coming in, and Ndongala playing that higher role. How is this Paris FC side going to function this evening?
I think that it's going to be very interesting. I like the change. Again, it reverses what I said about Real Madrid there, where for Paris FC it didn't quite click. They struggled to hold the ball up, and bar scoring early and late on in the middle of that game, they didn't really threaten Real Madrid too much, and they just couldn't see. There were times in that game where they just could not get out. They were really really good at pressing, and without the ball, they were really good. But once Real Madrid played through them, they didn't have a sniff. So a bit of a shift. Could be very, very interesting to see how that pays off. Ndongala higher, I don't mind it. I like her energy. I think she's quite a physical player, but also got a lot of pace. And to have those two things as more of a winger and more of an attacking player could be quite useful tonight. They're going to try and hurt Yasmin running down that right hand side. Matteo through the middle, again, I think it's positive change. A very, very tidy player, the kind of player that has got the ability to individually drag Paris FC through. That's the kind of player that Clara Matteo is. And if they can get the ball to her in the right position, she's going to make it work. She could even go alone if she really wants to. But I think that if Paris FC can get Clara Matteo in this game, then they've got a good chance of getting something out of it, because she will cause problems for that Real Madrid defence that did make a couple of errors last week and did look a little bit leaky. So I like the shift from Paris FC. They're trying something different, and they'll be hoping that it's enough to turn this tie around.
Yeah, I really like Mato in that role. I think for a number of reasons. Firstly, as you say, that sort of prominence in terms of playing in that central role. We're going to see her a lot closer to goal. We're going to see her taking up those positions to score more easily. And there were moments in the first leg where that ball went in behind and Azara didn't quite latch onto it, or Real Madrid were building out from the back and it was a little bit sloppy. And you just think that Mateo's desire and game intelligence, reading those scenarios, I think she's going to be able to act and win that ball back and create chances for Paris FC from those situations. Well, she also gives you those a distraction. She's going to draw attention in those central areas. The centre-backs are going to be occupied by where is Matteo, where's she going, what movement is she trying to make here. And as we saw actually at the end of that first leg, because they made the same change. They brought off Azaro, they brought on Liagre, they pushed Ndongala higher, they put Matteo through the middle, Garbino to the left-hand side. And what that gave them was not only a little bit more directness, but a bit of a distraction. And that created space then. And Amelie Mondi came on, and she was able to really latch on the opportunity. There was a little bit more space. And Mato just dragged those centre-backs out of position a little bit wider. And Mendy able to use that to her full advantage. And yeah, maybe if Paris FC can exploit that little bit of weakness, because I did think there were moments where they were quite vulnerable, Real Madrid. I think they realised that more towards the end of the game once they made that change. So I think that decision to go from the off does seem to be vindicated in what we saw last week. As for Real, though, it's about doing a professional job tonight. If they can get through this game without issue, they've got the players now. That's the thing, that there are some areas we go, maybe they're a better striker, maybe a better left back, they can upgrade in every position pretty much because they're not quite at that top level. But they've got a really strong team now, and they're running out of excuses to not be super competitive. I think that they are just a step off Barcelona, but they're getting there. They're getting somewhere. They're a lot closer than Atletico Madrid are. And they want that would be a very difficult quarter-final. It gives them the opportunity to prove themselves. So it's really imperative they get through this evening's game. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that it's one of those for Real Madrid where they will want to be back into that last eight. They'll want to return and play against the big sides. And yes, if they turn up in the quarterfinal and get beaten by Barcelona yet again this season, then it'll be disappointing. But at least they're into that stage. They want to be involved in that conversation with those kind of sides. Real Madrid want to take that step to the next level. Tonight, they've got to show that, as you say, professional job, nothing silly, don't make the errors. They've got the lead. They've got the easy job of just see out what you've got. They haven't got to turn up in this game and prove anything. They haven't got to turn up in this game and try and turn the tie around. They've just got to get the job done. And that is, yes, of course, it's going to be a little bit harder than just saying it. But the main principles are there. If they start fast, get on top early, don't allow Paris FC to have chances and build up some momentum, they should be able to see this result through. And of course, if they can win on the night, even better, makes it look more convincing. But they've got the lead now around it. They've done the hard part. They won the first leg away from home. Now all they've got to do is bring it home in their home leg, in this second leg, and then they can talk about it. And then they're back in that conversation with the best clubs in Europe. But as you say, if they get knocked out today, then again it's another setback. Again, it's another season when we sit here and go, Real Madrid aren't quite there yet. Win this game, get into the last eight, and then suddenly they're right back in that conversation of at least competing in European competitions with the biggest sides in the world.
Yeah, I think there'll be memories from last season when they got to the quarterfinals, 2-0 up in the first leg at home against Arsenal. They go then away and they lose 3-0. And that was really poor game management. Now, it's a very different equation tonight. Not quite as difficult an opponent. The home and away fixtures are reversed. And you would expect they'd have it a little bit easier. They've also only got a 1-goal cushion, so they can't afford to take too much liberty with that. And so it is a very different equation, but I think there will be that frustration about how it played out last year. I think they would have sensed that opportunity to at least get to the semi-finals, and that fell apart for them in the second leg. They can't allow that to happen before they even get to the quarterfinal stage of this year's competition. And no matter how difficult a potential quarterfinal matchup against Barcelona would be, if they're serious about competing, they've got to eventually get over the fact that of playing Barcelona. And they did beat them in the league this season. That's an important step, but they still haven't beaten them when it's mattered, and they're still not able to get ahead of them in the league. And I think they'll want that opportunity. Maybe they could do it in the Champions League. We'll have to see. Phoebe, welcome to the stream this evening, guys. I think tonight will end 2-1 and Real will advance. Also, really liked your video on Onabate to Arsenal. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the video. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see what Real look like this evening. If they can be the more dominant team, I think they've got I've said it already, but I think they've got the quality in this side now, where quarterfinal has to be the minimum, really. And yeah, it would be a difficult tie against Barcelona, but yeah, they've got the quality. It's got to come together soon.
Yeah, it's a hard one to manage, to give them a little bit of slack tonight, because as you say, it is only a 1-goal margin, and Paris FC have got nothing to lose. No one expects them to get to the quarterfinal, and if Paris FC do get through tonight, no one expects them to beat Barcelona. Real Madrid, though, you say they've got the quality players. They should be into the knockouts. They should be into the quarterfinals more regularly. The pressure is on for them to deliver tonight. For Paris FC, they've got a free hit, and I'll be really intrigued to see how they play it, because yes, they need to turn it on an aggregate, but the risk of going for it early would be that then Real Madrid can build a bigger lead. So I'm intrigued to see how the French side are going to play it, but Real Madrid really should be the ones that dictate how this game plays. If they start well and can play out properly and don't make any errors, then Paris FC are going to find it very difficult to provide any challenge tonight. But if Real Madrid are sloppy and the press is good from Paris FC, it could be a different game. So I think that it's a tight one. Real Madrid obviously got the advantage, but for Paris FC, they've got nothing to lose tonight. And sometimes in football, when you've got nothing to lose, you can go out there, go all out, and get a result. So yeah, I think it's going to be a very close game. That is maybe it would take even more than 90 minutes to decide. Who knows? But yeah, Real Madrid should see the job through. But football is a funny game sometimes.
Indeed. Well, players out onto the field, so it's time for predictions. Then, if you're watching along to the show, get involved in the live chat and let us know your scoreline predictions. We'll make sure to run through them all ahead of kickoff. We're going to start here in the studio, though, and as always, Harry, you can kick us off. What is your prediction for this early Champions League Knock-out Play-off round, second leg?
Oh, I think it's going to be another close one. I'm going to say a 1-1 draw, and Real Madrid will go through on aggregate. I think that Paris FC will give it a very, very good display. Real Madrid will probably, they'll be cautious. They'll be conservative to start with, and that will catch them out. And I think that Paris FC will take the lead in the first half, but I think Real Madrid will dig deep. They'll get stuck into the game and they'll find an equaliser to not only level up on the night, but to put them ahead on aggregate. 1-1 draw, Real Madrid go through 4-3 on aggregate.
Fair enough. I am going to back the upset. I'm going to say 2-0 Paris FC.
Wow.
Paris FC to go through in normal time. I think there is an element of underestimating them. I think they are a very decent side. I think if it was PSG tonight, just based on name alone, we'd be sat there going, oh, maybe they can pull off a result. But I think this Paris FC side has got quality, and I think that if they nail the setup, I think it's a great opportunity of them getting something from this game. I think that, as I say, I think they've got those players, those individuals who can really step up in this kind of match. So yeah, I'm going to say 2-0. I'm going to back the upset. I think there's got to be one underdog get through in these Champions League knockout playoff round ties. And Arsenal are through, United are through. No upsets happening there. I don't really think Juve beating Wolfsburg at the moment is an upset. That's kind of what should happen based on how those two sides not only played in the first leg, but played earlier in this competition. This would be a big upset based on their reputations, and I think Paris FC will be keen to pull that off. So I'm going to say Paris FC to win 2-0 and progress through in normal time. I'll say a goal from Clara Matteo, and I'll say a goal from Le Mogoudet.
Yeah, I think they've got the ability. And I definitely think that if Real Madrid aren't careful, that they could get caught out tonight. And as I say, the pressure is off Paris FC, so they can go all out, they can be aggressive. And if it backfires and it doesn't work, then they can walk off this pitch and say they gave it, they gave it a go. But I think that it's one of those where, of course, you always want to be leading on aggregate, but when it's a 1-goal margin, it isn't a bad thing to only be a goal down. You're still in the tie. You've still got a chance. I think the fact they're away from home obviously wouldn't help. If you're losing your home leg, always puts you on the back foot. But overall, I think that they'll back themselves tonight to try and get something and to really stun Real Madrid.
Yeah, indeed. Maybe that. Well, I think they can pull something off. You're back in Real Madrid. In terms of live chat, CV and Letter going 2-1 Paris FC. So I put going through to extra time then in that case. And Paul asking, is anyone else sound out of sync? Do let us know if that is an issue anyone else is having. Not aware of any problems that we're having here. So that might be something on your end, Paul. But it is Paris FC who will get us started here in Madrid. Real looking to get through to the quarterfinals. Paris FC standing in their way. Can they overturn the deficit, or Real Madrid see it through and progress? Paris FC, get us started here. It's Paris FC away at Real Madrid in this Champions League knockout playoff round. Second leg, the aggregate score 3-2 in favour of Real Madrid, and Paris FC going along from the off, and that'll be a Real Madrid throw on the far side. Bella holds it up well, looking to find Athenea. One back in there well, and then cleared up the line by Liagre. And they'll just drop back into their shape. Paris FC, Real Madrid will look to come... Paris FC throwing. And it's sent forwards. Mato tries to get the flick down the line. Headed forwards by Lacra. Athenea inside to Weir. Back to Athenea, who darts into a central space. Caicedo touches it past Liagre. Linda Caicedo takes on Aldercine. Can she release the shot? She can. Tame effort, though, from Linda Caicedo. But already showing her quality there. Beating a player and getting the shot away. Yeah, she'll be disappointed with the finish because it's brilliant feat by Caicedo. Shrugs off Liagre and does well to get her touch away from Aldercine. But the strike was very flat, low driven, but no power behind it and straight at the goalkeeper. But a bright start for Real Madrid. Garbino feeding it forwards there. Can't quite find Ndongala. And Real Madrid win back possession. Ball to the right-hand side. Here's Athenea. Wants to drive inside. Goes back to Mendes. Angeldal robbed the possession. And Ndongala. Ball played through by Mateo. And that will run through to the goalkeeper, Misa Rodriguez. And now Lacra. Knocks out to the left-hand side. Down the line from Yasmin. And Linda Caicedo just trying to let that run. But smart play in there from Aldercine. Korashek. Aldercine lifting it forwards. Chested down well by Garbino. Out to the left-hand side. Nice move already from Paris FC. Lou Bogoer carrying this forwards. Now with the support of Ndongala, who can come inside. Goes back to Garbino, supporting the attack. Here's Bogoer. Picard. Back to Liagre. Tries to play it forward. Flicked on by Picard. Korashek touching it down. Tidy stuff from Picard. Back across into Garbino, who lets fly. Blocked well by Mendes. And now Real Madrid can play forwards. Angeldal. Through the lines to Weir, who knocks it in behind. Looking for Athenea. Swept up well by Grebeval. And back to Mylene Chavez. Yeah, Paris FC there. A nice move, but they all came very narrow. Obviously, Real Madrid, they tightened up a bit to defend, but no one from Paris FC got wide, tried to drag them out, and it made it quite easy for Real Madrid to deal with that. But a good start by both, exactly what we wanted to see in these kind of competitive ties. You want to see both sides get off to a good start, and Paris FC have reacted well to that Caicedo chance. Yeah, I think they've set up very deliberately for transitions tonight. So you mentioned there, obviously, that narrowness, but that's only really coming in those settle possession phases. Yeah. Mato battles for the ball at this high point and then able to win it back. Garbino now wants to take on Yasmin. Shifts inside, tries to play it through the lines. One back by Mendes, and that was the wrong decision in there from Garbino. Yeah, had to go left a lot earlier. Great pressure on the ball here from Feller. Grebeval pulls her back. Feller jostling still. It's blocked. And Grebeval wins it back, and there's going to be a call for a foul here, I think.
Yeah.
But which direction?
It's Real Madrid. She's gone.
And it's a red card, and Grebeval dismissed. And this is a very poor decision from the defender, and I think she'll be dismissed here. VAR's going to have a look at it. Matteo's still protesting her innocence. The referee just trying to find Grebeval here to send her off. And 4 minutes in, Grebeval dismissed. A straight red card. But I don't think she had many complaints about that one.
Yeah, it's a really awkward one. Fella's through. And although she doesn't bring her down, she's pulling at her. And Demetrescu took her time, but I think it's the right decision. Grebeval just would not let her go. And yes, Fella got the shot off, but she held her all the way there and stopped her potentially scoring.
Yeah, I mean, it's silly. It's really silly. She heads it away from her. Grebeval pulls her back. I think there's not loads of contact, but it's a deliberate attempt to stop her. Yeah, I mean, it's killed the tie. It's a silly challenge. I don't think the referee's done too much wrong there.
No, it's a really difficult one because it's one of those where because she hasn't actually fouled her and because Fella's got the shot off, you'd think a red card's a bit harsh, but you can't. The ideal there is that that's just a free kick, but you can't. If you give the free kick, you have to send her off, and it's a foul, so it's a red card. It's a difficult one. It's a really awkward one. But yeah, Grebeval should know you can't grab players and they're through on goal, and it doesn't matter if they go down or not. It's still a foul.
I think that's the distinction, isn't it? What the action she's committed is the foul. Normally, you'd expect the striker to go down.
Yeah.
And Fella should probably go down there because you do run the risk of the referee going, well, she stayed on her feet, so how much contact was there? I think it's one where if the referee doesn't give it, VAR doesn't intervene. I think that gets, that is allowed. But yeah, I mean, it puts Paris FC, in a really difficult position now. Free kick on the edge of the box for Real Madrid. Weir and Navarro over this. It will be Ava Navarro to step up, leaves it for Weir, who strikes it straight at the wall. Matteo blocks it and clears it away. Yasmine on the edge, unable to get there as Picard pounces on the bouncing ball. And Dongala flicks forward, and Atheneo on hand to smash it back to Mylene Chavas.
Yeah, and this tie has completely changed now, because I said Paris FC had nothing to lose and could go for the game and had started well, but trying to turn around a deficit away from home and with a player less now, it's going to be a difficult job.
Yeah, I'd like to change my prediction to 0-0 if I could, because I just think Real Madrid are going to shut this game down. Paris FC, they were going to struggle to turn it around with 11. It would have been tough to turn it around with 11. I just can't see a way they do it with a player less. Even if they get a goal against what you would assume is the run of play, even if they get that goal, I just don't see how they can. I think Real Madrid would be able to overwhelm them and get back into this game.
Yeah, I think my 1-1 prediction is very much on. I can see Paris FC nicking an early goal here and then just holding on for extra time, but Real Madrid will find a goal eventually.
Yeah, we're all sat here going, oh mate, are Real Madrid going to bottle it again, even with an extra player, and then they do turn it around. I mean, unless they go full Atletico on us and decide to get a player of their own sent off like Atleti did against Manchester United earlier in the Champions League. I think Real Madrid are in a really comfortable spot now. Praveen says Madrid's at it again. Well, VAR didn't intervene, and I don't think there's any justification for any other decision from the referee there. It's a foul from Grebeval. It's great work from Naomi Feller to create that situation. Yeah. That ball is bouncing. She contests it, wins it well, and breaks in behind. And I understand why Grebeval makes that challenge, but it's only ever going to be a red card. And I think Fella's not a striker who is incredibly clinical. I think you could have taken the risk there. Back your goalkeeper to save the one-on-one, put enough pressure on her without committing the foul. I don't think it was necessary 4 minutes into a game to get yourself a red card. If that's the 86th minute and you're winning, or you're holding on for a draw, then fair enough. But that's just I think a really silly decision for me. We'll hope forward. Liagre wins. It was a foul in there though initially, so a Paris FC free kick, and this does give them an opportunity if they can fill the box from this sort of position. I think they may just use it to gain a bit of territory. Aldercine out towards the left hand side. Lou Boguer Looking down the line. Just going to carry the ball forwards. Ndongala now. No change over from Paris FC. I think they've just dropped
one's coming.
Korachek. Okay.
Someone is coming, but yeah, momentarily I think it's one of those where you just drop your most defensively minded player that isn't a defender.
Well, I mean, considering that it's taken them 5 minutes, I thought they may just stick with Korachek in that role, but it does look like they will make a change then. I just don't think they can afford to go too defensive, because what do you gain from that? Mato trying to drive inside. One height of the pitch here again by Paris FC. Clara Mato trying to create space for the shot. Pushed away by Mendes. Liagre carries it away from Caicedo. Lifting it now into the area. Headed away well by Myla Lacra. And there's so much space here for Linda Caicedo. A 2-on-2 as Caicedo and Fella break. In synchronisation, Caicedo darts across the diverted space. Can she create a shot from this situation? Stood up well by Korachek. Athenea blocked well by Boguer. Great recovery from Paris FC. Slightly overplayed. Athenea still coming though. Clipping it towards the back post. Bounces through. Was there a foul there at the back post? Which the Brits will protest. Referee not keen though to give anything else against Paris FC early on.
Yeah, Paris FC are having a very interesting time at defending their own penalty area. Really good feet from Athenea. The Brits gets towards the back post. No, there's nothing in that at all. Just good strength from the defender at the far post, and Paris FC live to fight another day. But the other problem is for Paris FC is that, I mean, they are having a look at it.
It's not been nice.
No, there isn't. I think they are going to get it. Oh, they're trying to. Sorry, Paris FC making their sub.
There's going to be a change in the back line, and that is going to be the American defender Deja Davis, I believe, coming onto the field at centre back, and withdrawn is I didn't see who was coming off the field there. But we'll find out in a moment. Davis slotting in at centre half. You would assume Paris FC will go to a 4-3-2 now. Or 4-4-1. It's Garbino who's withdrawn. So they've gone for a 4-4-1. Le Mougoudet has come to the right-hand side. Well, no, it is a 4-3-2. And then a sort of strike partnership of Matteo and Ndongala.
Yeah, they've got to hope for something to fall their way, as you say, if Real Madrid lose a player as well, or they get a penalty. But the problem is, as well, is that it's a deficit. If it was level on aggregate, then they could get a goal and try and sneak it out. But being a goal down, even if they can take the lead tonight, they're only holding on for extra time and potentially penalties, which is even more difficult to do than holding on for 90 minutes.
Ball down the right-hand side. Mougoudet gets there. Can she find the cutback? Cuts it back. It'll run through towards the back post. And not quite able to strike. It is Picard. Boguer now. Trying to feed the right-hand side again. Is robbed of possession as she just drifted inside. Athenea has runners ahead of her. Pokes it through the lines. Caicedo's in. Liagre almost pulling her down. Caicedo squares her up now. Tries to take her on. Goes back towards the left. Cuts it across. Chance in the penalty area. Weir saved brilliantly by Mylene Chavas. And Caroline Weir probably should have finished that one off, but what a save from the goalkeeper.
Big save from Chavas to keep Paris FC in this tie. Superb from Caicedo. And this ball into Weir is gift-wrapped for Caroline Weir. And how she doesn't score this, I don't know. Maybe it's a bit behind her. She has to take a touch, but she should really be finding the back of the net from there.
But she's still got all the time to choose where she's going to put that ball. And tries to fire across the goalkeeper. Chavas, no alert to it. Gretchen on the screen says it was obvious. Dog, so yeah, absolutely. No complaints about that one. Caroline Weir into towards the area. Lacra heads it. Blocked well by Davis. Bouncing around in the area. Goes directly up in the air now. Angledal tries to blip the bouncing ball, but can't keep it in play.
Yeah, I mean, Paris FC have gone the right way about it, haven't they? There's not really much you can do when it's a very difficult situation to be in when you're a player down, but you still need to chase the game. It's a very difficult one to get right, but I think they've probably gone for the best setup for Real Madrid though. They're on top, of course, and maybe that'll be enough for them. But surely you try and take advantage, get a second goal soon, and then you kill the tie off at that point.
Indeed, Angledal towards the right hand side. Here's Naomi Feller. Just drifted wide to receive. Now Navarro back down the line, picked off well by Boguer. And Navarro going back to Mendes. Lacra. Yasmin. The Brits into Caicedo. Bounces inside. Athenea. On back well in there by Picard. And a foul in there initially. But they do get the advantage, and that's a wasted pass from Picard. Out to the right-hand side with Navarro. Now Mendes across the back line into Lacra. Like to carry the ball forwards to the left-hand side with the Brits, who's just dropped in to receive in this sort of left-back position. Mendes. Touches to the right-hand side now. Navarro. Fella peels wide. Back to Navarro. And Mendes now. Angeldal. And Real still trying to find a way through this Paris FC side. They're going to go direct again. This will bounce out of play without issue for the Paris FC defence. Praveen says, how fast Fella is, Linda and her. Absolutely. I like the fact Real are starting to lean into being more of a transitional team. Yes, their defence, the midfield wants to play this they're slow and possession-based football. But in those attacking areas now, we are seeing them just click into gear a lot quicker. We're seeing them move the ball a lot quicker. I think they've got players in there who are much more suited to that fast, direct style of football.
Yeah.
Especially something like Paris FC, perhaps being down a player now, it is going to afford them a little bit more space on the counter. If Paris FC are going to try and push for a goal, they're not going to leave as many players back to defend. The Brits. Lacroix plays it through the lines to Angeldal, who lifts it towards the right-hand side, plucked out of the air with grace by Caroline Weir. Goes back now to Mendes. Navarro. Real Madrid looking to go back across the back line. Mendes into Lacra. Now finds Yasmeen on this wide left position. Lemogodet gets back in there. Strong challenge. Yasmeen jostling away. Liagre on hand to clear it forwards. And it's De Brits. He'll pick up on that loose ball. Pego asking, how can I watch the game? It's available exclusively on Disney Plus around the world. So if you are not able to watch it on there, then feel free to join us here for the watch-along. And if you are watching it, well, feel free to sync up to our coverage and watch it along with us. Chavas out towards the left-hand side. Ndongala tried to flick it on, heads it the wrong way though. Koroshek. Ndongala. Lovely little fake there. She pretends to play the pass and gets away well from Angeldal. Still carrying the ball forwards now. Knocks it to the right-hand side, and Liagre would be hard-pressed to get there. And it's down the left-hand side for Real Madrid, and Caicedo's got space now to run into. And she looks so dangerous, Linda Caicedo, looking to take on Koroshek. Not quite able to create the distance in order to make something happen. Out towards the overlapping Yasmeen now, and that's blocked well. Real Madrid corner.
Yeah, good block by Alderson. But again, Paris FC, the final ball lets them down. And the problem with that is not only is it hurting them in the attacking third, but by getting that final ball wrong, it leaves them high up the pitch. It leaves them, on threat of being countered on. They've got to try. If they're going to be aggressive like they are at the moment, because they need to be, they've got to sharpen up in attacking areas. Because not only is it costing them to score goals, but it also leaves them more vulnerable to concede. And now, from that poor pass in the final third, they've conceded a corner and a chance for Real Madrid to take control of this game.
Indeed, corner delivered in towards the front post, headed away, bounces in the box now, and Yasmeen hooks it back towards goal. But that one over the bar by some distance.
Yeah, probably should do better with this one. It wasn't the worst corner, kept alive, and Yasmeen just runs onto it, and yeah, that is volleyed well over the bar.
So, Paris FC building out again. They have struggled really to compete in this game down a player. Chavas lifting it out towards the left-hand side and knocking it straight out for Real Madrid throwing. You do wonder if Paris FC are going to try and give Real Madrid the ball and then look to counter. The problem with that is at the moment they are just getting bogged down a bit, but it's one high up the pitch here by Koroshek. Now Matteo out towards the right-hand side. Great work here to form some sort of attack. Lemogodet back towards Matteo. Cuts it back. Blocked well. Matteo keeping this move alive. Can she squeeze a shot? Drops for Picard who takes aim. What a save from Misa Rodriguez. sees it through the crowd of bodies, gets down to it well. A nice move from Paris FC, almost crowned with a goal.
Really good football from Paris FC. Matteo does so well to keep it alive. Her cutback was literally blocked, keeps it alive, cuts it back to Pica, who catches it really nicely, does well, keeps it down, driven through, and how Rodriguez has read that through bodies and still got down to it. That's a great save.
Pica drilling it in there. It's drilled in there, and it's lifted over the bar by Al-Hussein. A smart little routine from Paris FC. It left Al-Hussein in space. Not able, though, to catch that one how she would have wanted.
Yeah, again, it was hit hard, but she's got to anticipate for that. You know the ball's going to be fizzed in, so take a bit off it, get over the ball. She's leant back. That's why it's gone over the bar. Get over the ball. The ball's got the pace on it. You've just got to get the direction right. But there, Alderson lifting it well over the bar, and disappointingly, because that a good chance again for Paris FC to take the lead in this one.
Athenea taking this free kick too quickly for Lena Demetrescu, who is shaking her head and blowing her whistle vigorously.
Yeah, a bit of Paris FC were stood there frustrated. That's not the foul. A bit of confusion there. Athenea thought she was the one fouled, but it was pulled back for the first one, which is a bit kind to Paris FC, because the first foul was about 20 yards deeper.
And to be fair, Athenea wasn't really a foul, so Real Madrid carrying this forward to Mendes. The Brits.
The worry will be for Real Madrid is how open they've looked, even with a player advantage. I mean, yeah, and again, they're trying to play through Paris FC and they've ended up kicking it off. How are they still losing the ball in the press when the press has lost a player?
It's a difficult one for Real, because you've got to adjust to playing against 10 players, and it sounds stupid, but often it is hard to play against 10. Sides do drop in a little bit deeper. The problem is, though, Paris FC aren't dropping particularly deep. And they are still packing a punch coming forwards with one less player. But yeah, you definitely shouldn't struggle to defend against 10. Davis.
They'll be happy for Paris FC, but I think they'll also be frustrated that they haven't scored yet. Because you don't think they're going to get too many more opportunities to find the back of the net.
I don't think they're going to get as nice opportunities they did for Pica and Alderson. I think, it's going to take something a little bit special tonight. That was a great breakaway. Pica couldn't drive enough power through it, really, to get it past Misa Rodriguez. Did force a really good stop out of her. And Alderson, you're not going to pull that off twice.
Yeah.
Real Madrid will wise up to that routine. So they've shown their hand a little bit, Paris FC. They've had those opportunities. I worry if they were their only chances, if they were, that was it for Paris FC. But they are competing well. I'm sure they'll create more. Lacroix, the Brits robbed of possession, and Koreshek carrying this ball forward. Ndongala is the option to pass to, and that's not the right pass. Mendes picks up on the ball, and Misa Rodriguez smashing it forwards. And that's two players who shouldn't be in that position.
Yeah.
A deeper midfielder and a fullback, really, in Ndongala. Neither of them did the right thing there. And Ndongala's run made it difficult, and the pass wasn't great. If you've got Matteo and Garbino up there, that's probably another great chance for Paris FC.
Yeah, again, final ball lacking, and Real Madrid getting caught on the ball again. But they can't punish. And you can't keep letting Real Madrid get away with it. They did it last week. Obviously, they did get a goal, but they didn't punish as well as they could have. And then Real Madrid sharpened up and got back into the game and ended up winning the first leg.
Yasmin lifts it in there. Athenea brings it down. One back well in there by Liagre. Carry it up the line. Hooks it down the line, and one back again. Liagre tries to clear. Bouncing around here. Yasmin inside to Angeldal. Flick round the corner. Caicedo trying to backheel it to Athenea, who can't quite get there. And now Naomi Feller picking up on the ball. Every time I watch Linda Caicedo, I'm just shot here from range. Angeldal, top of the net. I'm just surprised nobody's just gone and handed around £100 million. Just bought her.
Yeah.
She's so talented. One of the top talents in world football right now.
Yeah.
I think there's not only is she so good now, but there's so much potential there. And Yeah, I'm surprised that we haven't seen anyone go big for her yet. I know she's just signed. I think she signed a contract renewal in the summer with Real Madrid, but there is the opportunity of moving for her in the summer transfer window coming up. Is that the right time for her to make that move? I think it depends what the offer is on the table, but I'd love to see her at a bigger club.
Yeah.
Pass inside to Angeldal, lifting it over the top for Caroline Weir, who tries to put it into the area now. Right position, Chavas punches away. And Picard steers it clear. Yasmin with a shot from range, and that one not going to trouble the goalkeeper.
Yeah, another bit of a wild effort from Yasmin. But again, Real Madrid having a good spell, and that seems to be the way it's going at the moment. Real Madrid have a good spell, and then Paris FC will break away and have a chance that at the moment they're scuffing up, and then it'll go back to Real Madrid being on top again. But it's one of those where neither side has really looked like scoring yet.
No. Real have had opportunities. Paris FC have had opportunities. Nothing particularly clear cut, but yeah, no, I agree with that assessment.
I think one decently, one big save from each goalkeeper so far.
Well, one shot on target from Paris FC, 2 shots on target from Real. So yeah, not far off that. There was the early shot from Caicedo, which Chavas did well to deal with, and there was that fantastic save to deny Caroline Weir. That the best chance of the game so far. Probably should have taken that really. Paris FC, the only save so far they've forced was that shot from Picard. Lacra. Across to Mendes.
I think Real Madrid can move the ball nicely, like they currently are, but every now and again there's that sloppy pass or getting caught on the ball and they give possession back to Paris FC.
Yeah. Here is Angeldal. Mendes. Towards the left-hand side with Lacra. Back to Mendes. Mendes into Lacra. They're under a lot of pressure here, and she just scoops it forwards. And a chance now. Caicedo rounds the goalkeeper. The angle's too narrow, and she's not going to keep it in play. As it just trickles away, the keeper get a touch on it. Well, Chavas doesn't think she has. I think Caicedo left it there, thinking the keeper had touched it.
Yeah, really awkward one. I think maybe it was pulled back. I mean, it was offside anyway, but I don't know.
I think Liagre played her on, though. Goalkeeper did enough to put her off.
Yeah, I think Caicedo's got to do better there.
The flag has gone up. I have to say, I didn't think she was offside. I think Liagre wouldn't have been in view there to the assistant referee necessarily, but did it like she was just off of that defensive line. May have been keeping her on. Free kick for Paris FC, though. Autoscene playing it forwards, looking for the inverted or the inside run of Liagre. Flicked on well by Fella. Here's Weir. Needs support. The Brits. Navarro. Shifting the play. Athenea brings it down. Poor touch, though. And play was won in there by Paris FC. There has been a stop here to the game by Demetrescu. As Autoscene down holding ahead.
Yeah, just got there second. And I think she ended up headering the back of Naomi Fella after Fella flipped the ball on, which is going to hurt. But a chance for Paris FC maybe just to get a bit of rest in. They are battling hard at the moment. Oh yeah, the Fella flicked it on. She just ended up going backwards into the Paris FC centre half, but she looks right to continue, which is encouraging. They don't need any more defenders going off.
No, absolutely not. Gretchen says Madrid's a little loose in their passing game. Well, they're trying to be incredibly ball dominant, and I just don't know if they've got the right team for that. Like, who in there is your conductor? Who is playing those line-breaking passes? You know, Angeldal's a fantastic destroyer. The Brits are really good utility midfielder. Weir is a great creator in the final third, really good in those tight spaces. Who's conducting the play? Who's controlling the football in there? We see the Brits and Angeldal both dropping into the back line. I don't mind that for Angeldal, but I don't think it's either of them used in their best role. The Brits Lifted into the box. Shavas does really well. It was slightly out of her grasp. Did enough, though, to stop the ball and then reacted quickly to claim it. If we think about Angeldal and her best work at Manchester City was alongside Yui Hasegawa. And Hasegawa obviously likes to drop in and receive the ball, and then is also good at sort of carrying that ball forward and progressing it. And Angeldal was a fantastic destroyer, breaking up the play and winning it back and being able to feed it into players like Hasegawa and some of those attacking players to make things happen. But Caicedo through the lines. Fella now. Opportunity. Slots it past the keeper and the offside flag's up. Did think that was always going to go up for Fella in there. And Paris FC aren't happy because they think that should have been disallowed quicker. Let's have a look. I mean, she was beyond the back line before the ball was played. A considerable time before the ball was played. She lost it past the keeper, but she was offside.
Yeah, just went too early there, Fella. Another good move from Real Madrid. But still no goal. And the longer it remains 0-0, the more chances Paris FC should get to level this tie-up on aggregate. But not a bad start at all from either side. But Real Madrid, they'll be starting to feel like they probably could have scored by now.
Yeah, VAR are still checking this. I mean, can't see any world in which this isn't as good as a goal, and indeed it's given us offside. So Paris FC building out. Davis lifts it to Boguer. Just to touch it onto Ndongala. Koroshek. Touched round the corner well by Lemo Gudek. Ndongala does really well to hold on to that ball. Matteo pokes it into Picard towards the left-hand side. Good interception from Athenea. Well, one hurt the pitch here, though. Lacra not able to win it back. Matteo jostling away for it. And Yasmin gets back in there. A call of handball there from Paris FC. And the play will be paused here as VAR's going to have a look. And referee Demetrescu has been thoroughly involved this evening. Does that hit the arm of Lacra? Oh, it looks tight. We haven't had a great angle of it yet.
It's one of those where, again, we have this debate. She's going to go to the monitor. I think, no, we are going to know. We're going to play on.
Nothing given there then. Matteo. Folks had a play by Angeldal. It's a difficult one to give. It definitely hits her arm in the penalty area, but how much intention is there?
There's none, and it's the right decision. But the problem is how many times we've seen that given in the Champions League across the league phase. Yeah, we saw some bizarre handballs given in the league phase. Even last week we saw a strange one in there for Wolfsburg. So yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yasmin carries it forwards. Great challenge in there from Clara Matteo. She's now feeling a bit of discomfort after this one. This would be a concern. Paris FC are already up against it with 10 players. Would be impossible. You'd fear without Clara Matteo. She's okay to continue though.
Yeah, they've been in the wars tonight for Paris FC, but they're digging in. They're hanging on in this tight. And they've got to, they'll be looking at it 13 minutes till half time. Paris FC know that there is very little chance they win the overall tie in 90 minutes. They are happy to sit at 0-0 for 60, 70, 80 minutes. They just need to find that one goal at some point to send us to extra time.
Matteo carrying this ball forwards. Touching it through the lines. Mendes does well to intercept. De Brits shields it from Ndongala. Fella carries forwards. Shifts it towards Caicedo. Picked up well by Old Hussein. It goes down the line and that's out of play. Forced into the mistake. Thrown for Real Madrid. Now we'll go back to Mendes. Angeldal. Now Navarro. Across the back line to Mela Lacra. Wide to Yasmin. Carrying the ball forwards. Ndongala puts her under pressure. Yasmin. Dropping deeper with possession. And the ball shifts along the back line once again, this time from left to right. Spread wide. Navarro. Angeldal. Navarro down the line looking for Weir. Angeldal will pick up on the loose balls. It's intercepted. And again, probing Real Madrid. Moved from right to left. Lacroix will carry this through the lines. Al-Hassin wins it back though and launches the ball away. Mendes. Not sure that need to be launched there.
No.
They're the kind of opportunities where Lacroix's miles out of position that you feel they can capitalise on.
Yeah. It's difficult one to balance, but as you say, you have to try and get it right. Yes, in most instances, you want to get it long, you want to just clear your lines, but you've got to then time those moments where actually you can take that bit more of a risk.
Ball to the left-hand side, the Brits. Options in the area, blocked by Picard, handball, and that's a penalty to Paris FC. We're not going to need VAR on that one. Blatant handball from Picard and Paris FC. The masters of their own downfall here, and an opportunity for Real Madrid to convert from 12 yards.
Yeah. Obvious. As soon as it hit her arm, the Brits goes across the ball in, and Picard, her arm is out, it hits her, blocks the cross, and yeah, no hesitation whatsoever from Demetrescu to give that. That is as obvious as you get them in the modern game. Another big error, and Paris FC have battled well here, have really cost themselves, and now they're going to need Chavas to pull off something incredible.
Yeah, well, I think Chavas would be proud of that save.
Yeah.
That Picard's pulled off there. But it will be a penalty for Real Madrid. Caroline Weir the taker. Chavas between the posts. Can she keep it out or will Weir convert? Caroline Weir. Over this one. Takes a step back. And she slot it home. Steps up now from 12 yards. And what a save! Mylene Chavas with a big stop. And a lifeline again for Paris FC. Really, really good goalkeeping. Sees it all the way. Gets across to it. And Caroline Weir denied. Mylene Chavas take a bow. Fantastic penalty save, and Paris FC staying alive in this game.
Huge save from Chavas, and it's not a bad penalty from Caroline Weir. Yes, it's not right in the corner, she'd have hoped, but she strikes it well. It is a good height for the keeper, that has to be said, but what a save from Chavas. A massive save to keep Paris FC in the game. And Real Madrid, after 36 minutes, they've had an extra player for 32 of them. They've had a penalty now, and they still aren't leading on the night. Massive moment in this time. That could sway the momentum. Very good from Chavas. Delivers, gets the right way, makes a stop.
Absolutely. I mean, Mylene Chavas, that's not the first time this evening that she's kept them in the game. A big denial of Caroline Weir earlier in this match. And she stops her for a second time, this time from the spot. Cheryl Dilsis, who was sent off for Paris FC. It was Grebeval, the centre-half, denial of a clear goal-scoring opportunity, pulled down at Naomi Feller, and she broke away in the 4th minute. And Grebeval was dismissed to many complaints. Out towards the right-hand side. Carried forwards. Here's Caicedo. Able there to get out of trouble well. Out towards the left-hand side. Athenea cutting inside. Takes aim. Chavas with another save. This one a bit more comfortable though. Athenea didn't get the contact she would have wanted with this football. Couldn't quite open up her body enough. Ended up firing straight at Mylene Chavas.
Yeah, should have hoped to do better with that one. The defence parted like the seas for her. As she cut back, defenders just went left and right and opened up a nice channel for her in the middle and struck it well, but way too straight. And another decent claim by Chavas, and Real Madrid are going to have to find something magical to get past her tonight.
Indeed. It's the classic former player's revenge. Marlon Chavas spent the last 2 seasons at Real Madrid. Never really got those opportunities to start. Firms brought in the summer. Chavas left. And, well, perhaps showing why Real Madrid shouldn't have moved her on with this performance so far. Ball through. Aldocine makes the mistake. Chavas off her line. Well, and Athenea, well, I think her eyes lit up as Aldocine missed that ball, but Marlon Chavas is the one smiling the most. Really, really smart stuff. And the TV cannot believe it so much that Disney Plus have just completely butchered whatever cameras they've got on there.
Yeah. I mean, Aldocine's blushes are spared anyway. The offside flag did go up in the end, but brilliant goalkeeping from Chavas.
Indeed. And while Disney Plus may have lost the plot, Paris FC will keep playing to the left-hand side now. Davis down the line to Boga. Knocks it inside to Picard. Boga. Knocks it all the way back to Chavas. Chavas says, do you want an El Clasico or do you not mind? I don't really like when teams from the same nation play each other in the Champions League. Liagre coming forwards. Caicedo shutting her down. Liagre wins it back. Caicedo, though, wins back possession and gives it away. Le Mogude into the right area. Mendes does really well.
All I have to say is, how is this game still 0-0?
Yeah.
I'm stunned that of all the football and all the mistakes we see in penalty areas, penalties given away, a red card, all of this, we played 40 minutes and no one scored a goal. It's incredible.
Ball around the corner from Korashek. One back in there by Yasmin. One high up the pitch and a foul there. As Caroline Weir was brought down. Free kick for Real Madrid. But in their own area.
But yeah, I think that on that quarter-final, I think both Real Madrid and Paris FC will go into it as the underdog. But I think you're right. It'd be nice to see someone different go up against Barcelona. We've already seen Real Madrid Barcelona 3-4 times this season.
Too much.
Yes, I mean, it'd be refreshing to see another side, but it will take a lot for Paris FC now. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a nice draw for Barcelona either way.
Ultimately, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Ultimately, does it matter?
Probably not.
Not as good as I think Real Madrid can be on their day. They're nowhere near. They just don't have that. I know they beat Barcelona, but they're not competitive consistently against Barcelona. We've only got to look at the Liga F to show that.
And that's the thing. They beat them last season and then felt like everyone, for the first time, and you felt like they could kick on. And then this season they've just been smashed by them again. It's crazy. Yeah, that's the thing. I think either way, Barcelona will fancy themselves. It's probably the nicest two potential opponents you could get out of this whole knockout playoff round.
Yeah, I mean, Paris FC didn't fare too badly against Barcelona in the league phase. Lost 2-0 away from home. Oh, sorry, 2-0 at home.
Yeah, it's not terrible. But you put that into across 2 legs. You put a Barcelona side that are firing on all cylinders and want to tear you apart.
I think Barcelona win that tie 4 or 5-0 on aggregate either way.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Ooh, and that's a bizarre ball down the line. Throwing on this near side.
3 minutes out till the half. Paris FC will be looking at that and just hoping to get through to the interval now. They get into the break at 0-0. They can regroup, go again, and come out in that 45 minutes looking for the goal they need to keep the tie alive.
Shadow says they got fortunate when they beat them last year. Yana goal was onside. Well, I mean, you look at this season. Barcelona beat Real Madrid 4-0, 2-0 and 4-0 in their 3 meetings thus far across the Liga F, Supercopa Femenina and Copa de la Reina, as Barcelona just on course to win everything. If they do meet in the quarterfinals, they'll play 3 consecutive matches as the Champions League games are sandwiched between a Liga F fixture between the 2 sides. So that's good fun.
Incredible.
Can't wait for that. Ball headed away on Dungala, giving away possession. Ball slipped into Fella. Now a chance for Athenea. Opens up the body, takes aim, blocked well. Angledal dispossessed and it's cleared away by Le Mogodek. Ball sent forwards. Liagre will get there. Bounces in midfield now. Mendes to the left-hand side. Linda Caicedo, can she take aim? Cuts it across the goal. Fella can't turn it goalwards. And cleared away well by Korashek. End on Gala. Lovely turn in there. But support is lacking. Turns back and finds Davis, who will launch it towards the left-hand side. Matteo battling for the ball. Mendes sees it out of play. And that's a Real throw.
Yeah, again, Ndongala there looking for support and nobody arrived. Forced to go backwards. But another couple of minutes killed for Paris FC and they're closing in now on getting into half-time at 0-0, which is important.
Back to Misa Rodriguez. Exchanging with Mendes. Phil and Stefan, what was the stream? Stefan says BK Herken is in the wrong cup. Despite losing half their team to WSL, they now have 9-1 aggregate versus Breidablik 18 minutes into the return leg. I mean, that is a very different level of competition, though. But I think Herken would have been in a great position to get into this round at the very least. But I don't think they'd have got further than that. Hammerby in a very similar position. I think either of them would have, competed well.
Yeah.
Especially Hammerby before they lost all their players. Caicedo dancing here, trying to create the space for the cross. Packed out by Liagre. 3 minutes of additional time in this first half. And there have been a lot of stoppages. Not a lot of goals, though.
Yeah, I think it feels like we've had everything in this game but a goal. Red card, missed penalty. Chances at both ends. No one put in the back of the net, though.
Poked out well by Korashek. Corner now for Real Madrid. Can they capitalise?
This would really hurt for Paris FC. They've done well to rally and battle with the player less, but if they were to concede now on the stroke at half time, that would be a big blow.
Indeed, they've held Real Madrid well, despite being just down to 10 players. Ball into the area, touched goalwards, Davis on hand to smash that one away. Well, the deadlock remains intact here. It's been very different in the Men's Champions League. Newcastle beating Carragh 5-0. It's just gone after, or still the first half, sorry. Anthony Gordon with 4 goals in that game, 2 of which were in penalties. So yeah, the former working quite differently in the men's game. Great competitive fixture here.
Yeah.
Not so competitive fixture in that one. Versus who got sent off. It was Grebeval, centre half for Paris FC, pulled down Naomi Feller. And she broke through on goal in the 4th minute. So Paris FC have been up against it, but they competed well here against Real Madrid. Ball thrown in behind, looking for Feller, touched on by Liagre. Don't think she needed to do that. And that will be another corner for Real Madrid.
Yeah, Real really ramping up the pressure as we get closer and closer to half-time. Paris FC are dropping deeper and deeper. And they've just got to make it through this last minute. And they can regroup at the break.
Real Madrid with this corner. Floated in there. Chavas punches clear. Athenea now. Well, that's... I think if there was a roof and a stand in that end of the ground, it would have flown out of it. But as it's only grass, that ball just flying off into the distance.
Yeah. Not quite what she's looking to do. I'm not really sure what she was trying to do in that situation.
Well, no. I don't think she knows what she tried to do there. Chavas launching towards the left-hand side. Flicked on. Angledal wins the contact. Korashek then heading through. Bella competing for the header. Korashek nodding on. Angledal. Round the corner into Fella, who's trying here to burst away. Does do well to get away from Boguer. And Fella. And that is half-time here in Madrid. Real Madrid 0. Paris FC 0. Despite an early red card for the visitors, they've held on well here. As Real Madrid unable to find a way through. really strong defence. Real Madrid, I think, will feel somewhat frustrated that they haven't been able to extend their advantage on aggregate in that first half. And at the break, it's 0-0, 3-2 on aggregate in favour of the home side.
Yeah, an action-packed 2 legs it has been so far between these two sides. The first leg full of goals, and the first half here tonight in the second leg full of action. But the one thing it is lacking is goals. As you say, a really difficult start for Paris FC, picking up the red card, but they've dug deep, they've worked hard, and they've kept themselves in the tie. Real Madrid have had chances, they've had a penalty that was saved by Chavas, but they've had opportunities. They'll feel they should have taken the lead in this game, but Paris FC digging deep, remaining in the tie, and with 45 minutes left to play, it's still game on here in Madrid. So very interesting to see how the second half plays out, but overall, no goals, but an eventful first 45 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it has been, we've seen a penalty, we've seen a red card, somehow they were unrelated, we've seen chances at both ends, we've seen Marlon Chavas put on one of the best goalkeeper displays we're going to see in the Champions League this season, and yeah, it's been a very chaotic game, but I mean, credit to Paris FC for how they've battled back after that early dismissal. You can't help but feel without that red card, they'd probably be in the lead in this game on the merit of play. I mean, it would have been a very different complexion to this first half, but they've still competed. They've still created chances despite being down a player. So huge credit to them. Real Madrid, I think, will be feeling that frustration. They haven't capitalised fully on the fact Paris FC have had a player sent off. And I think that will be a source of frustration. They should be clear in this game. We should be talking about the second half going, Real Madrid 1 or 2 up now at half time. They've got a 3-goal margin aggregate. Is there any point in watching the second 45? But instead we watch with a vested interest because Paris FC now, a goal changes the complexion of this tie. They go then to extra time. 2 goals and suddenly Real Madrid are out of the competition. And it shouldn't be the case. Real Madrid should have this more comfortably than they have had it. So I think there will be frustration there. But yeah, bit of an odd half. But yeah, Real Madrid haven't quite capitalised on the Paris FC mistakes, and Paris FC have done well so far to hold Real Madrid. Shaman is asking, will there be any Asian Cup live streams? Once we find out who the English broadcaster is, possibly. We're going to look through the schedule, see what we can do. But possibly, so stay tuned on that. If there's interest, let us know, by the way, if you are interested in watching. If you're interested in us doing Asian Cup streams, let us know in the live chat, because that will definitely play a part in our decision making. But yeah, if there's an English broadcaster for it, or I can find a way to be in Australia, then we will move the studio there. Then yes, we will probably cover a few games from that competition. So yeah, but on this game, Harry, what were your thoughts on that first half?
I think that Real Madrid will be frustrated that they aren't leading. I thought that, I mean, it was a brilliant start to get Federer in behind to draw the foul and get Grivabal sent off, and that was the perfect start for them. But they haven't kicked on from that, and they'll be frustrated. I think that they have played well. They've looked most dangerous when Paris FC have actually come at them, made a mistake hard at the pitch, and then Real Madrid were able to come at them with more numbers, and they haven't really taken advantage of that. There's been a couple of good opportunities. Caroline Weir will feel like she could have scored quite a few in this game, let alone none. And I think that there's been some big chances for a lot of players in a Real Madrid shirt, and they will be as I say, they'll be frustrated. They'll feel like they should be leading, and it's something that could come back to hurt them, because as we've seen, Paris FC are coming forwards, and you'd expect them to go for it. Once we get 70, 80 minutes in, they'll throw the kitchen sink at it. Doesn't matter how many players they've got, they'll go for it because it's a 1-goal margin. And if they throw it away, they throw it away. If they turn it around, then fantastic. But yeah, it's definitely game on. But I think it's a half that it's been a good watch. But Real Madrid will definitely feel like they should be leading. They had some good chances in that first half and just could not take them.
I also think, weirdly, Paris FC have options that I look at on that bench and go, they can come on and change this game. I don't know. I feel the same about Real Madrid. I mean, Real Madrid subs bench, Teletti, Benison, Dorado. They've got youngsters like Comandor, sorry. But they've got then, and Redondo as well, of course, can come on and have an impact. But Paris FC have Azaro, who we know can come on and have an impact. Harheim, Jedlinska, obviously Mendy, who came on and got that goal in the game last week. I just think if they can hold out until that 75th minute mark, look to bring Azaro into the game, look to bring Mendy into the game, I think this gives them a great chance of being able to get something from this match, potentially just taking it to extra time, which in of itself is a great achievement considering the position they're in. So yeah, I think maybe they can get something like that from this game. But yeah, I think they've fought well. Real Madrid haven't really done enough yet to capitalise. A penalty and a red card. You'd think they'd be 1-0 up by this point in the game, but they've not been good enough in attacking areas. They have been wasteful. I mean, Caroline Weir now, 2 big opportunities that she's failed to capitalise on. Probably should have done better.
Yeah, absolutely. The first one, it's put on a plate by Caicedo, to be completely honest. It was brilliant feat from Linda Caicedo. She's caused problems for Paris FC all evening. And it's really good feat. She gets to the byline, cuts it back to Caroline Weir, and Weir has to score. Touches behind her, but she gets it in front of her, and yes, Shabas closed her down, but it's a great save, but Weir has to score from there. Point blank range, you're alone in the 6-yard box. You've got to find the back of the net from there, and a player like Weir will definitely feel like she should have scored. And then obviously the penalty. You know, it's a massive opportunity. It was a stonewall penalty, obvious handball from Picard, and Weir. I mean, it isn't a terrible penalty. To be fair to her, it was a nice height for the goalkeeper, but it was hit well, and it wasn't too central. So it's a great stop from Shabas, but Weir, a gilt edge opportunity, the penalty, cut another half chances. She'll definitely feel like she could have scored in this game. I think there'll be a lot of players, Athenia, Linda Caicedo, who will also feel they probably could have found the back of the net already tonight.
I mean, yeah, I absolutely think so. I think the combination players attacking areas haven't actually been too bad. At times that final ball's been missing. I think they're trying to be too delicate or too technical with it. And actually, the chances that they've been able to get something from, the red card was the ball lifted in behind. The penalty was lumped into the box, kind of. It wasn't the deftest of crosses.
Yeah.
A lot of those other combinations, though, it's a little flick around the corner, it's a little back here, a little touch on. It's not quite coming off, or it's a slightly inaccurate pass, slightly overhit pass. So yeah, I think they've got to stop overcomplicating it to a certain extent. I think that they've battled well, Paris FC. But there is space there to really exploit. Real Madrid aren't doing that. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see what they look to do in the second half, Real, if they can be a little bit more direct. Ultimately, the important thing for them is they don't concede. If they don't concede, they get through this tie. That's ultimately the easiest way to look at it. So that's got to be the priority for Real Madrid, is just getting through this game without conceding. If they can get a goal, make this a little bit more comfortable, I'm sure they'd love to.
Yeah, it's exactly that. I think that, of course, as you say, they'd like it to be comfortable. They'd like to have a bit more margin for error, because there is always that threat that Paris FC can hit them on the break. But they did the hard part. They won the first leg away from home. They've just got to see it through now. Extra player as well. They should do it. They should have enough to be able to just deal with this. Deal with the second half and get through to the quarterfinals. But football's not as easy as that sometimes. Paris FC will still come forwards. They've had their fair share of chances. They've turned the ball over half the pitch and just not been able to capitalise. There's been a few errors from Real Madrid playing out, but equally that's then been matched by Paris FC. With a bit of a poor final ball, or it not quite coming together. So. It's a really difficult one to call, because on one hand, Real Madrid are already leading on aggregate and have the player advantage, but on the other hand, Paris FC have come forwards, they have had aggressive moments, and you can only think that as the game goes on, if it remains at 0-0, then Paris FC will go for it, they'll throw everything at it, and that's when Real Madrid could get caught out.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, with the substitutes, I think regarding that point, if they bring players on later into this game, there is the opportunity there for Paris FC. I think they've put themselves in that position now with how well they executed the first half. If they can continue in a similar vein, then I think that there is a result there. There's a result that I think they can seize in the second half if they can put everything together. But yes, whether or not Real Madrid will come out and look better. If they are more clinical, if they are more cutthroat in this second half, I think they'll win. I think they'll have the opportunities. If they play the same way though, and Paris FC can bring it up a notch and bring players on perhaps who are a little bit more attack minded, then I think there's every chance that they can actually win this tie, or at the very least get the goal to take it to extra time, which would be a great achievement.
Yeah, it's one of those where people will look at it and say that even if they do manage to take it to extra time, Real Madrid will just win. But extra time's different kettle of fish. It's it's a different game, and it suddenly it becomes about fatigue. It comes about fitness, and it's a test of your mentality. And of course, you'd expect Real Madrid to be fitter because they've got the extra player. But as you say, if Paris can be tactical with the subs, get the goal, go into extra time, and if they still believe, as I say, it's more about mentality, if anything. Can you run over? You reach a point in extra time, and the players that can run through it and get over that hurdle are the ones that make the difference and can win you that kind of game. And at the end of the day, it's half an hour. If they get to extra time, hold on for half an hour, go to penalties, and from the penalty spot, anything can happen. So, yeah, it's one of those where I think Paris FC will break it down into those achievable steps. Keep yourself in the game at the start of the second half. Push for a goal to level the tie, get the goal, get to extra time, and then worry about how to see the tie out from there. But I think it's important they get the right balance. There's no point going gun-ho for it now. They've got to make sure they're still in the game. If they go for it now, Real Madrid will have them at some point and find a goal themselves. But they're managing it well by being defensive but still looking to counter. As the half goes on, they should become more aggressive. They bring on the subs. They try and make the difference. For Real Madrid, I mean, if they don't make an error, then they shouldn't concede, and that's the way they'll look at it. Is that they can keep making error after error in front of goal and not being clinical and not finishing their chances. But none of that matters as long as they keep things tidy at the back. If they make an error, Paris punish, different game. Real Madrid just got to come out, be calm, be composed, and just be sensible when they're on the ball in their own third.
CV Letter says, I think Ndongala must retreat to right back to try and slow down Caicedo. Otherwise, I'll take a goal from that side in the second half. I wouldn't mind a substitution for Liagre coming off for Azaro or something along those lines. I think, obviously, they've got to be careful now about how they manage those stoppages. So a change at halftime isn't the worst idea.
Yeah.
CV Letter saying, Azaro and Mendy can bring in power for Paris FC. And De Bruyne had chances to kick the ball from out the box, which didn't take it. With a low block, Real can start shooting it from distance. Yeah, I mean, we haven't really seen Real take risks in the second half. In the first half, I don't imagine that's going to change too much in the second half. No. There's not really any incentive for them to do so. But yeah, I think as what you say on Paris FC is correct. Mendy and Azaro are probably their best options to bring on and try and fight their way back into this game. I wouldn't mind an early sub, Azaro coming on, Liagre off, move Ndongala back to full-back and bring on Azaro, and you can try and get those two to combine. Because there has been times where, one particular one, where the ball was picked up by Koreshek in midfield, carries it forwards, and then it's Ndongala making that running behind. And then two players who are unsuited to both of those roles. Yeah. So Koreshek isn't a fantastic attack-minded player, so the ball through isn't great. And the movement from Ndongala definitely doesn't help her because it's she's not making the run based off instinct. She's making an attempt at a run. But if someone like an Azaro or if Mato was in that position, or Mendy even, or Mendy in that Koreshek role, have that ability, have the understanding, have the knowledge to play in those sort of positions, and so you'd expect a better running behind and a better ball in, and potentially that then becomes an attacking situation. So yeah, I think Azaro would be a nice substitution for them. Use that combination between Azaro and Mato to try and create things in the final third. But it doesn't look like, from these shots at least, they're going to make any changes from the side moving into second half.
No, it doesn't. Timing's important with the subs. I agree. I probably would have made one at half time and then saved the other three for towards the end of the game, but they've got to get it right. You don't want to... It's one of those where they don't want to score too early, because by scoring too early, Real Madrid could then go for the game and just kill you off. They want to time it right where they find a balance of not scoring too early. That you want to obviously score it with enough time so that you can send it to extra time, but you don't want to score too early and give Real Madrid time to pull it back and take the lead again. But if they get the balance right, practically, they've got a good chance. At the very end of the day, the most important thing is about keeping themselves in the tie in these first 5-10 minutes of the second half, because if you're Real Madrid, that's when you want to strike. Kill this tie off now. First 5-10 minutes, have a good chance, be aggressive, and get that goal. Put yourself 2 goals up on aggregate. Suddenly, it's a mountain to climb for Paris FC.
Absolutely. Well, second half about to get underway. Both sets of players warming up on the sidelines, ready to take to the field once again, ready to contest another 45 minutes of Champions League action. As it stands with Paris FC's last 45 minutes, whether they can fight their way back into this game it would give them that opportunity to face Barcelona in the quarterfinals. As it stands, it will be Real Madrid progressing. Madrid making a change at the half then. Toletti coming in to the side, and she will replace number 10, Caroline Weir. What are we thinking then of that change? Weir, 2 big chances missed, taken off the field for Toletti.
It's quite a defensive change, isn't it? I know we're missing chances, but I think she did too much wrong. And yeah, that's a bizarre one. Looking for control, looking just to see the game through.
Indeed, Real Madrid get us back underway. Real Madrid nil, Paris FC nil. 3-2 is the lead for Real Madrid on aggregate. Can they see it out? Can Paris FC find a way back into this match? One change. Toletti in for Weir, and that will change the complexion of this midfield a little bit. Toletti now the deeper player. De Brits and Angeldal freed up a bit more. We're seeing Fella dropping in central areas. Navarro, now Mendes. It's either thing that's going to unlock them or really stifle them, that substitution. Like maybe De Brits and Angeldal now playing more natural roles for them will be able to fulfill that creativity and a bit more space for attacking players to see them thrive. Or with no Weir, they're going to struggle to create, struggle to get shots away, and Paris FC could use this. Phil says, looks like Madrid shutting up shop with that change. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is the other thing, isn't it? They want a more defensive player on the field. Kill this game off, drop a little bit deeper. Chandler says, we're punished, didn't expect that. There were 2 bad misses. Like, great station of Mylene Shabazz, take nothing away from her, but you expect penalties to go in. And couple that with the miss from close range as well. One up the pitch by Real, has seen flicking it away. A game of headers falls at the chest of Caicedo, who can't find a teammate, and Koreshek hooks it forwards. Mato putting pressure on Lacroix. Lacroix sees it out well. Real with the throw in. She'll go inside to Toletti. Back across the right hand side. Mendes. Now Lacroix. Carrying this ball forwards. Yasmin knocks it in behind. Won well though by Autoseen, who sends it up the touchline. Cleared away well by Toletti. Liagre sends it back. Toletti heading it forwards. Athenea now bringing it down well. Can she find a teammate? Here's Yasmin. Inside again to Athenea. Lovely footwork there as it's cleared away by Autoseen, who sweeps up effectively. A header from Toletti, almost won back by Mato. Then she dispossessed the defender Lacroix. And now I'm just looking to the left-hand side. Caicedo. Mendes. Angeldal, wider still. Navarro. Caicedo in this central role. Lovely combination play, and Angeldal released into space. A ball in the box, though, dealt with by Autoseen. And Davis now looking for the angle to clear this up the line, and does so successfully.
Yeah, it was a really good ball through from Caicedo into Angeldal, who probably should do better with the ball in. Looks to just float it in towards the near post, and it's dealt with quite easily. Needed to try and cause a bit more problem with that ball in.
Toletti. Into Yasmin. Lacroix. Mendes. Back to the left. With Lacroix. Wide to Yasmin. It's hit down the line. Carrying the ball forwards now. De Brits. Into Fella. Shifting inside. That's picked off well. The ball forwards from Matteo, who can't quite hold on to it. Toletti, the enforcer, in that role, winning it back. Navarro. Caicedo, tidy footwork. Back to Navarro. Now it's with Caicedo. Hermes says Caicedo is explosive in 1v1 situations, thrives on giving space down the flank. She keeps isolating defenders on that side. Assume that was going somewhere, but it just says comma. Yes, if she can keep doing that, there will be opportunities. Brilliant creative force. Toletti. Exchanges with Mendes. Goes down the line now. Nice control from Angeldal. One back by Boguer. One high at the pitch by Angeldal. Caicedo does brilliantly to hold on to possession. Yasmin. Back towards Caicedo, who knocks it wide. Fella. Angeldal. Toletti. Yasmin. Back towards Fella. One back by Altasim. She knocks it out of play.
Yeah, as expected, really. The second half starting with Real Madrid putting Paris FC under a lot of pressure. The home side looking for that goal that would surely see this tie go in their favour. Paris FC are doing well, though, to dig deep and to keep themselves in the game. But you feel with the kind of pressure they're under, it's going to be difficult to. That being said, Real Madrid haven't really had any glaringly obvious opportunities in this second half. They've had a lot of the ball, and Paris FC are very deep. But, Shaz hasn't been called into action just yet.
No, not yet. And the goalkeeper was so important in that first half. Toletti plays it forward. The Brits to Caicedo. Shimmying inside. And Madrid now moving towards the right. Mendes. Toletti. Playing wide to Yasmin, trying to open up the angle for the cross. Does so, but to little great effect. As that's over the bar.
Yeah, again, not a great ball in from that left-hand side. Another opportunity wasted for Real Madrid. And I wonder what Pau Casada's thinking, because he'd have been hoping that his side would start fast, kill this game off early. Then they had the red card. He thought, happy days, that plays into our hands. They didn't get the goal, got the penalty and missed it. And now they're sat in the second half, still at 0-0.
Caicedo, dangerous drive inside, still going. Fella touches on Athenea, should have struck first time.
Ooh.
And the eventual effort well wide of the mark.
Yeah, big miss from Athenea. A player of her quality has got to do better with that one. Brilliant from Caicedo, gets it to Fella, who does the right thing to shift it to Athenea, who absolutely snatches at it. And that has gone well wide. Really poor effort from Athenea.
Should do a lot better there. Spanish wide player. Davis up the line. Can't quite find Ndongala. And Navarro does well there just to shield it out of play. Real Madrid throw. Mendes. Back to Misa. Lacra. Mendes again. Into Navarro. Real probing. Looks to take on Ndongala. Goes back instead to Mendes. Now Toletti. In this central space. Lovely passing range. Lifting it wide to Yasmin, who puts the ball into the area. Cleared away by Davis. But while Real Madrid haven't had a shot, we haven't really seen Paris FC get on the ball so far this evening. Angeldal. Navarro. Delivers it in there. Shot on target, and that's there for Real Madrid. Great delivery from Navarro and touchstone well by Naomi Fella. Finally, the deadlock broken. Finally, Real Madrid find a way past their former keeper, Chavas. And it's Fella with the goal. Reacts well and touches it on. Altasim down in the box. And that will be checked, but I don't think there's much wrong with Naomi Fella's movement. Great finish. Real Madrid 1. Paris FC 0.
It was coming. Paris FC were under the pump in this second half. Real Madrid were putting on the pressure. And it's a really good ball in from the right-hand side. Fella makes a great run and gets on the end of it. Navarro whips it in. Fella gets in front of Altasim and has the easy task of just putting it past Chavas. Really good stuff from Real Madrid. A deserved goal. And Paris FC, they fought hard in that first half. But in the second half, they finally come undone. And, well, Real Madrid are in complete control of this knockout tie.
It's great stuff from Navarro. Ndongala should probably keep with her. But a great delivery. It's arguably the most savable shot that Shabas has faced this evening. But just goes down, expecting a bit of a lower effort. It's fired over it. And Real Madrid lead by a 0-0. And a slip here, and Lender Caicedo puts pressure on the ball. Shabas plays it out. Here's Boguer, lets it run. Ndongala now. Darts inside with the ball. Ndongala looking to the right-hand side. Chested down well by Picar. It was passed to her with power. Liagre. Down the line, looking for Mogudek, who wins it back well off Yasmin. Ball into the area, cleared away by Lacra. Fella holding it on the edge. Liagre wins it back. Fella goes down with little persuasion, nothing given. Out for Real Madrid throw, though. A little bit clumsy there from the midfielder.
Yeah, a bit awkward for everyone involved there. Thought it could have been a Paris FC free kick, then it could have been a Real Madrid free kick, and in the end, Real Madrid get the throw. Yeah, really good from Fella, who does well to turn that home, and yeah, a much needed goal for Real Madrid, and that will just shore things up a little bit, really. Just calm things down and make it a lot easier for them to come forwards with a bit of freedom.
Navarro, Angledal, Paletti, Angledal, Navarro again. Who beats Ndongala. That's an ankle breaker. Ball in, and that's headed away. And that was brilliant from Ava Navarro. He's really thriving in this second half.
So it's almost welcome to the game, Ava Navarro.
Yeah.
Didn't see her for 45 minutes in this second half. She's run the show on this right-hand side.
We should probably check that Ndongala is still stuck in the turf.
Yeah. Left to her legs and ankles, pointing in all directions. Brilliant feat from Navarro. Great assist, and yeah, just looks up for it in this second half.
Korashek heads well. Yasmin picks up on the ball. Now Mendes. Back to Misa Rodriguez. Mendes again. Spreading the play wide. Navarro carries forward. Shifts inside. Looks back outside. Athenea. Now Navarro round the corner well. To Angledal. Caicedo. Touched on by De Vrij. Now Fella. Looks to beat Liagre. Ball in there towards the back post. That looked like a bit of a hold from Boguer. She'll get away with it. And a nice exchange with Ndongala. And Paris FC can bring the ball forwards now. Ndongala carries it inside. Shifting the play. A pinpoint pass into Mogudek. Great carrying here from the midfielder. But unable there to find the final ball to match.
Yeah, they're trying, Paris FC. They're giving it absolutely everything, but you just feel that they have ran out in this game. That if they could have kept it at 0-0 and been only a goal down on aggregate, yeah, we spoke about the subs going on at half time and making the difference. But you feel now with a 2-goal deficit and a player disadvantage, you just don't see them pulling it back here. And it could be a bigger deficit with Real Madrid coming forwards again.
And a pass inside from Angledal. Shabas collects it without issue.
It's one of those where there's more chance Real Madrid get a couple more than Paris FC turning this around.
Yeah, you feel that way now. Paris FC had momentum, had belief when they could turn this tie around. Now, well, especially with everything that's happened in this game, it doesn't feel likely. A goal deficit was always one they could turn around, even with 10 players. But a 2-goal deficit now. You would think Real would have this one wrapped up.
Yeah. But who knows? 30 minutes. Strange things happen in football.
Absolutely. Caicedo darts inside effectively. Caicedo takes aim wide of the mark.
That would shut us up right away. Brilliant again from Caicedo, and she'll be frustrated that she hasn't found the score sheet tonight, because she has just been magical, causing problems for every defender she's come up against. You just don't know what she's going to do. One of those players in that elite bracket where every time she touches the ball, you don't know which way she's going to go. You don't know whether she's going to dart past you, feint, cross it. She's unpredictable. Absolutely class.
Pulled on the right-hand side. Matteo battles away to get there. And Lacroix can't keep up. Pass inside to Le Mogodek. Back to Clara Matteo. Carries it inside. One back. And Real Madrid all pounce to Brits. Dispossessed by Ortacine. Game's become quite transitional. That's a really poor pass. Should have done better there to find Clara Matteo.
Yeah, the final ball just has not been there tonight for Paris FC. They've had fleeting chances, but yeah, whenever they've had those opportunities, that final ball just isn't there. And Misa Rodriguez has had quite a quiet evening.
Yeah, relatively. Real Madrid haven't faced too many shots this evening.
No.
3 shots for Paris FC, 1 on target, yet to take a shot in the second half. Meanwhile, Real Madrid, 15 shots, just 5 of them, though, hitting the target. Still very wasteful.
No, yeah.
Real Madrid, 3 big chances created, 2 missed. That was the penalty and the close-range miss from Caroline Weir. And then the 3rd big chance taken well by Naomi Feller. Right on the ball, slip through. Athenea now. Picks up possession, takes on Liagre well, looking for the cutback. Cuts it back, though, to nobody. And it's Davis who receives it and clears the ball away.
He had 3 runners there. Athenea managed to pick out the one space where nobody was standing.
Athenea does the best there to sell the referee and buy a free kick. The referee, though, having none of it, Demetrescu. Has been heavily involved in the action this evening, but you have to say, she's done a very good job.
Yeah. You look at those big decisions, the red card, she got it right. And again, the same with the penalty. Another big decision. It was the correct decision.
What I'll say, is they're both... Second one less, so second one's quite obvious, the penalty, but they're both decisions that she's made on field. She's not she's not a referee, and to a fault at times. She's not a referee who will just get through the game and let VAR handle those big decisions. She will go with what she believes in.
Yeah.
And sometimes she does get that wrong, but I'd rather a referee who gives what they see rather than a referee who sort of tries to manage the game as a ref.
Yeah.
Caicedo through the lines. Chance now. Can they take it? Athenea saved well by Shabas, who, despite the fact Real have found a goal now, still remains as brilliant in that goal.
Yeah, another big save from Shabas. I think the flag did go up, which is incorrect on both players. But Athenea denied there by another good stop.
A double change forthcoming from Paris FC. Edlinska and Sangare and Le Mogodek will be at the player withdrawn. Sangare, an attacker. Edlinska also an attacker, so 2 wide players, and then Liagre also withdrawn. That will see Endon Gala move to fullback and more of a front 3 now for Paris FC. So 4-2-3 for Paris FC.
They were the changes that I think were always going to happen, no matter what the scoreline was. And if those changes were coming on at 0-0, I think we sat here going, this is what they need. This is how they can get into the game. But now that Real Madrid have got that goal, those changes probably won't have much of an impact.
Shamador says Saletti gave them more control in midfield. Well, it's exactly what I said sort of at half-time where I mentioned, where's the conductor in there? You've got 3 great midfielders, and on paper it's a really fun midfield, but who's progressing the ball? Well, they brought on Saletti, and she's controlling the play, dictating the play. She's finding those passes that are a little bit wide, they're a little bit more risky. She's putting them off. And yeah, I think she's done really well to just come in, control the game, and make things happen for Real Madrid. Progress that ball with a little more urgency, but also with accuracy. Bourget clears it out of play haphazardly. Real Madrid are throwing on this near side then. Paris FC still 2 changes to make for Real Madrid. 4. And Paris FC with more warming up, and you'd think it wouldn't be too long if Jedlinska and Sangare aren't able to find a route to goal, that they may look at their bench again.
Yeah, the shuffling the pack, as you say, going for it as well a little bit, but just giving everyone opportunities, managing minutes.
I mean, if you get a goal in the next 5-10 minutes, you go for the game, don't you? Find another striker,
absolutely.
you see what you can get. But yeah, it does feel at the moment it'd be very hard to envision that happening. Fella, great hold up, knocks it down the line. Really good recovery from Davis to stop Navarro getting there. And Paris FC will go long with Chavas trying to find Sangare. Will bounce through. It's a shame. This tie, I think, could have been incredibly close. I think Paris FC could have even done something tonight, but that red card's just cost them big time.
Yeah, I just a moment of madness really for Grohoval. Not really sure what she was thinking there. At that early in the game, yes, fella's got the wrong side of you, but just back your keeper to make the save.
Ball to the left-hand side. Athenea. Now Caicedo. Can Real Madrid find a route to goal? Well, they'll probably be in the same position they are now, so they probably would have taken a few more shots. They may still be losing, but down by a goal to nil, but they've taken more shots. They would still have 11 players on the field, and you'd be looking at the last 25 minutes going, well, if they get a goal, they're right back in it.
Yeah.
Instead, it's very hard to envision them. Very hard to envision them getting through from this point. Mendes, unless they can pull off La Remontada.
Never say never.
Indeed. Football's a fantastic sport. You never know what's going to happen. Yasmin. Caicedo. Ball slipped through into Angledal. He'll battle away here, but Altucin winning it back. Berger. And that pass back towards Picard's picked off. Koroshek on hand to win it back. Berger. Koroshek. Berger stuck in her own corner. Down the line towards Jedlinska. Picked off there by the tenacious Navarro. Lifting it in. And that's an own goal. And Ndongala turning it into our own net. And that will likely be that in this game. Real Madrid 2. Paris FC 0. A 5-0 lead on aggregate. And that should see Real Madrid through to the quarterfinals. Well, they'll meet domestic rivals Barcelona. Real Madrid 2. Paris FC 0.
Bit of misfortune for Ndongala, but a big goal for Real Madrid. And as you say, that 5-2 lead on aggregate, 3 goals Paris FC aren't going to find in the next 23 minutes. And a really strong performance from Real Madrid. They've missed their chances, but they've ramped it up in the second half, put the 10-player Real Madrid, 10-player Paris FC under pressure and taken full advantage. Yeah, it's just, I mean, I feel, you feel for Brea scores an own goal, but I think she's got to react better than this Ndongala. Yeah. The header is missed by, was it De Brits running in there, who went to head it and missed it, and then Ndongala's just caught flat-footed.
I think it's more there she's trying to not deal with the ball rather than deal with it. And it comes across the box, and rather than trying to control the football, she tries to get out of the way of it, and actually ends up the ball just hitting her and bouncing in the goal.
Yeah.
So no goal there from Ndongala. How has Altucin played? Seen her a few times. I thought she looked pretty good. I mean, for a centre half who hasn't had a partner, and didn't have a partner for the first 4 minutes. They didn't have a partner for 6 minutes, and then if they've been down to 10, I think she's done well considering.
Yeah, I quite like her. She's quite an aggressive defender. Likes to step up, likes to get onto players, and I quite like that. Again tonight, she's been very assertive. Out of everyone in the back line, she's kind of been able to handle the power of the Real Madrid front line. And it's a good defender, and had another good performance. I think it's been just. There's Paris FC struggling now. We're 68 minutes through, and I think that they're tiring. It is tiring to play. It's always more tiring to play 10 players, and the effects are really coming in at the moment.
Koroshek skips past Angledal, lifting it towards Matteo. Yasmin gets there. And now De Brits. Athenea. Ball inside to Teletti. That towards the left. De Brits touches on to Yasmin. Real Madrid conserving at this point. No point going hell for leather for another
Yeah.
goal. The game is all but sewn up. Mendes, Angeldal into Navarro. Seems unlikely now we're going to get an upset tonight. Maybe something will happen tomorrow.
If we get an upset tonight now, either something magical is going to happen at Meadow Park, or Paris FC are going to put off something incredible here.
Ken Eidenberg hits 5, and Leuven progress.
Would be the greatest Champions League game of all time.
Absolutely. Navarro. And away, well, by Davis. Fella now inside to Angeldal. Picked off out the pitch by Davis. And poked out of play. And that'll be Real Madrid throwing on the near side.
I think that, just thoughts for Paris FC, I think that 5-2 on aggregate doesn't represent how they've played in both games. Obviously, this tie is a bit null and void because they were down to 10 after 4 minutes, but 5-2 feels like they've been well and truly outclassed in both games. I don't think that's necessarily true.
I think they've been outclassed in passages of both games. I think it's probably the best way I'd say it. I think there have been moments where Real Madrid's quality's really shone through. I think, that passage where they've just scored 2 goals in a fairly quick succession.
Yeah.
54 and 67, so 13-minute passage. Outside of that, Paris FC have been able to compete at the same level as Real Madrid. There's just a moment there where they let that quality shine through.
Yeah.
The same really happened in the first leg. I think that game where Paris FC started the much better side, Korachek got that early goal. It took them a while to find a way back into the game, and they scored in the 39th and the 45th, and that really killed them.
Yeah.
Just that passage where Real Madrid found 2 goals. They got another then in the second half. Lovely bit of play from Caicedo right towards the end of the game. Athenea coming forwards here. Can she get a shot away? Does so. Blocked well though by Davis. And while everyone else seems to have thrived around her, it's been a tough evening for Athenea.
Yeah, it has been. Not had it her own way. Again here, it's an absolute gift from Davis initially, who makes a meal of the touch and gives it away to Athenea, but she gets back in the Paris FC defender and makes a good block. But yeah, Athenea, she's the kind of player you look at in these games as being able to make a difference and being explosive and being a force. But another difficult evening for her, while players like Caicedo and Feller have looked really sharp and been dancing around defenders. It's not quite been as easy for Athenea.
Ball headed wide. Because even as an Arsenal fan, I'd applaud that if it happened. Oh, I would.
I have a lot of questions.
I'd definitely be applauding it. I'd be buying an OH Leuven shirt. Changes here for Real Madrid. That's going to be two changes to the defensive line. I think it'll be both fullbacks withdrawn. Yasmin makes way. At left back, be replaced by Sarah Holmgaard. And then at right back, right back, Feller up front is withdrawn. And Sheila Garcia coming on. Now I very much doubt she's going up front.
Yeah.
So that will be Athenea up front, Navarro to the right wing, Garcia at right back.
Make the most sense. You forget sometimes that Sarah Holmgaard is at...
Yeah, I had to just then.
Yeah. I think that, again, obviously a big move for her, leaving Everton for Real Madrid. Very different places.
Bigger ground at Everton.
That is true. That is probably the one thing. It's the one thing you can give Everton. But he hasn't really got the game time she'd like, potentially.
Navarro's at right back, and Garcia's in at right wing. I was thinking there.
I'm not sure, to be honest. I mean, Navarro's played well there, but surely you just resort back to your normal positions when players come on. But yeah, Paulo Casada has made some strange decisions across the last couple of games watching, and done to be fair this season in total. I'm intrigued to see how long term pays off for Real Madrid. Because I do have some questions about how they play and what they try and do. And I think that could get found out in the quarterfinals.
Ball towards the left-hand side. Boguer carries it forwards. Delivering it in towards the box. Sent away well by Mendes. Because Rob said that Arsenal just tie those, so I'll be pretty gutted. I do not want that at all. I don't want that tie to happen. I hate it. It's going to be horrific. There's no winning there. If we win, we'll celebrate, and then all the Arsenal fans will stop watching us. Because we're just here, just shouting and screaming and having a great time. And obviously, if we lose, I'll go into a clinical state of depression.
It's a bit far.
For about a week.
Oh, that's all right then.
It's only a week.
Yeah.
Lacra, no. It would be a tough one. Caicedo carries it forwards, knocks it in behind. Great movement. Shot now, wide of the mark.
Got to do better there, the Brits.
Yeah.
Has to do better. So another incredible ball from Linda Caicedo, who's just making magic happen out there. Outside the boot, through ball, straight into the path of the Brits, who manages to put it past Shavas, but can't put it in the goal. Should have scored that. Should have put Real Madrid 3 up.
Pass inside to Al-Hussein. Sends it forwards. Because really, I love those games. I just can't. I like to go to Arsenal and win, but I just can't stand Arsenal fans. I'm sorry, Phil. You seem lovely, but yeah, Caicedo into Atheneo, drops to receive. Lifts out towards the right-hand side. Now Navarro. Mendes. Shamdo says, what do you think of the England squad? Happy to see Lauren James back. God, no. I'm furious. Shouldn't be anywhere near that squad. Neither should Williamson. Neither should Bronze. Neither should Beaver Jones. Neither should Kelly. None of those players have been fit recently. Why on earth are they in the England squad? And while she'll probably be careful with the likes of Williamson and Kelly, I know Lauren James could play 180 minutes and then come back injured again. It's what Beekman does every time with James. So no. Not happy at all.
It was like she went through and picked all the injured players.
And I get there's loads of injuries, but like Ruby Mace, who's been really good this season, hasn't been injured, and Everton have only 6 games left. They do not need her. Well, 7 games, sorry, they got the FA Cup as well, don't they? 7 games left. They don't need, it doesn't really matter. She'd love an England call up, and she's not been called up. So like the fact they need centre halves. Ball into the right area, and a good defensive effort there from Ndongala, who stops Holmgard, at the back post, being able to get that.
Athenea, once again, could have found herself on the score sheet here. Navarro with another teasing ball in. And to be fair to the Spanish forward, she throws herself at it, but can't quite get there. And then Holmberg arriving at the far post also couldn't get on the end of it. Another great one from Navarro, who has come alive in this second half for Real Madrid. Changes, though, for Paris FC.
Indeed, Silla onto the field. That centre half. Picard withdrawn as well. Mendy coming into that midfield. Can she make something happen?
Yeah, 12 minutes, 3 goals. It would be something spectacular. But yeah, they'd like to get a goal. Make it look closer on the night. Go home with something at the very least.
Thank you to the person commenting in what I believe is French. Or it could be Spanish, I'm not 100% sure. It says a la Madrid, but it also says bonsoir. Welcome. Now, unfortunately, I don't speak French or Spanish, but welcome to the stream. Someone says the argument is she's played centre back for Everton, but they don't really need her at centre back. They absolutely do. Letizia is likely going to play at right back. Williamson shouldn't be starting because she hasn't played much for Arsenal at all recently. Then you've got Carter and Morgan, who are both in pre-season, so haven't really been playing. So who's going to play centre half?
If I'm Ukraine and Iceland, I'm fancying my chances.
No. Someone says Potty Patterson, I don't think it's good enough. I think she's good enough. For being left-footed helps you a lot in football. I think she's good enough. I saw loads of Arsenal fans. Well, I don't know how Arsenal fans remember such things, but going on. Apparently, she made a foul on Olivia Smith earlier this season, so they don't like her and they weren't happy that she got called up. But there we go.
Welcome to football.
I know.
Players like fouls on each other.
But no, I quite like Poppy Patterson. I thought the move to London City could have been a really good one. Then they signed 3 left backs and she got injured. So, hasn't worked out perfectly for her.
Another injury. Everyone's injured.
And Dongala. Pass inside to Mendy. Lovely turn. Touched on. Lovely through the lines from Korachek. Looking for Sangare. He'll battle away for the ball. Smart defending from Lacroix, though, to see it out.
Yeah, 10 minutes for Real Madrid just to see the job through. 10 minutes away from the quarterfinals.
Shamador says Liverpool captain Grace Fisk. Yeah, but I'd rather see Mace given the minutes, to be honest. I don't see Fisk being a long-term option for England.
Both.
Or play, Mason Miller.
Should have called up both.
Yeah. Or put Mace in midfield.
Mm.
You can still do that, even if Brian Sorensen / Mike Phelan. Not Mike Phelan,
Scott.
There you go. Don't view her as a midfielder. But yeah, no, I think the England games will be interesting. We'll be live for them. Join us there. We cannot wait.
We have England do actually need to win them.
I know. I forget that qualifiers happen. It's just going to be the same thing. Beat Ukraine, beat Iceland.
Iceland will be interesting because I was disappointed by them at the Euros.
They'll win at home against Spain and lose away against Spain, and they'll probably draw another silly game and then win the other one.
Draw to Iceland away.
Yeah, and then beat Ukraine and then through. But they've just got to not lose to Iceland and Ukraine. It doesn't really matter what happens in the Spain game as long as they don't beat Iceland and Ukraine. So,
qualifiers.
Yes. I'm surprised Gianni Infantino hasn't got rid of them.
Well, and tried to do something wacky.
Well, just let all the big nations in anyway. Seems like the kind of thing he'd be into.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at the England squad and it's so light. But because they've got so many injuries this season because they had loads of people play injured during the Euros.
Yeah.
So they've all been injured this season because of that. And then Vegan's calling them up again to run them into the ground. But foul there on Sangare. Got away from Mendes, who picks up a yellow card for pulling her down.
Yeah, good from Sangare. She's looked lively since she's come on. Been a bit of a presence, which is exactly what you need when you're under pressure and you're sitting deep. You need a striker that can throw their weight about and get on the ball and be difficult. And Sangare's done a very good job of that. Drawing the foul there, but overall it's just been a bit of a nuisance. Keep plugging away Paris FC. As I said, they'd like to go home with a goal. Give them something to work with. Something positive to take from the game.
Mendy over this. Also make sure this fairly lacklustre Real Madrid defence doesn't manage to keep a clean sheet.
Yeah.
Mendy loops it in there. Great delivery. Matteo, what she brought down in there. She's claiming handball, but she really should just scored.
Yeah, has to score that. Not really sure how on earth she hasn't turned that home.
The referee, I think, is just checking this. Was Matteo right about a handball? She is onside. Ooh, does it hit the hand? I mean, Angeldal holds her hand afterwards. Definitely hits her hand. Could this be a penalty?
Maybe. That's a difficult one again.
It's given us offside. It didn't look offside from the replay they showed, but they didn't show us much. So, save them the trouble of having to give a penalty. It's offside.
Yeah.
Garcia carries it forwards well. Angeldal plays it through. De Brits, good hold up. Now Garcia. Navarro, loose control. Notice that Serena lost playing injured Chelsea players. Yeah, Bronze and James Beaver-Jones all called up. I would expect them all to get minutes most likely, despite the fact that Bronze is just back. Beaver-Jones hasn't played for Chelsea yet since coming back from injury. Somehow in the England squad.
Can't wait to see her.
Stupid.
James, Beaver-Jones, Kelly front three starting at Ukraine. with Bronze and Williams.
Luckily, I see no way she doesn't start Hemp because she's got, she hasn't got Champions League football.
None of those three should start. Should be Hemp Russo. It'll be Hemp Russo Mead. Who knows?
And hopefully something fun in midfield. Missy Bocairns. I think she got called up, didn't she?
Can't remember.
I feel like she did. One well by Boger in midfield. Wants to go down the left-hand side. Unable to keep it in play. Jedlinska, sorry, not Boger. 5 minutes to go. But for all intents and purposes, the tie's been over for half an hour now.
Yeah. You just think, I think Paris FC will be thinking, what if Grover doesn't get sent off after 4 minutes? Yeah, it could have been a completely different game. But I mean, because as we said earlier, even if she lets Fella through there and Fella does score, you're still only 4-2 down on aggregate, but you've got your full complement of players. It's a completely different game. Bizarre decision. Just a lot, lost ahead really. Not lost ahead, lost away. Panicked. And in the end, although that saved the goal, she probably cost her side the game.
Yeah. Cost them the chance of the game at the very least.
Yeah.
Of course, I'd like to see Godfrey, but I'm not even sure she'll even get minutes. She has to. It'd be absolutely criminal for her not to. Because she's done really well. I mean, she's carried on City on her back. And she does not only show the minutes, but there are so many players who've been out injured. Godfrey has to start. Should start Ukraine. It's the easier game. Ball poke through, looking for Mateo. And that's good goalkeeping. Held on to by Misa Rodriguez. But you get that earlier game.
Yeah.
Against Ukraine. It also then potentially gives some of those players who are still coming back from injuries time to be ready for that Iceland game.
Yeah.
Rather than rushing them into. I mean, it's going to be a rush anyway if they're going to play long minutes. But there's no reason Godfrey can't play well against Ukraine. That's an easy game for England. Should be a 5-6-0 win. If they play to the best of their abilities, I'd be happy with anything over a 2-0 win. Really, just win the game is all that is important. Caicedo looking forwards again. The Brits. Showing us talk of the town is wrestler Resha Littlejohn being called up for Ireland once again. I saw this. She's not even with the club, is she? Or she might still be a pass but isn't playing. Utterly bizarre.
To be honest, when I first saw it, I thought she'd been called up for the Six Nations after her antics earlier in the season. But no.
Double change as well for Real Madrid, Redondo. And Benison, the two substitutes. Angeldal withdrawn from midfield. Benison replacing her. And Linda Caicedo departing. Another game where she showed glimpses of her potential, but didn't quite find that goal or was able to contribute. I mean, we saw last week how important she was for Real Madrid. Of course, Serena doesn't like to give starts. I think she's old school in that regard. Likes to integrate players before they get a chance. Lacroix. I mean, we've seen a few come in. It's going to be interesting. I think it's very much her management of the national team has been kind of selfish in a way, but it makes sense in the sense that she's not worried about what the team's going to look like in, after this World Cup.
Yeah.
So, we've got a lot of players like Bronze and stuff who are going to be departing, and we haven't seen minutes given to anyone else at right back, apart from Letitia, who I think most managers would come in and put a centre half. But I would be very surprised if... Well, I mean, I don't know how Serena Williams feeling personally, but I think if she wins the World Cup in 27, I think she'll retire from... I mean, what else she got to do then?
Yeah.
Like, win another Euros. Maybe she'd want to do is it the home tournament, isn't it, in 2029? Maybe she'd want to do that.
Maybe.
Ball slipped down the line, chance now. Clipped into the box, claimed well by Chavez. Great claim. Can't take anything away from Miley Sherman. She's done her job today.
Oh, absolutely. Some brilliant saves in the first half. So obviously the penalty in there as well, and even in the second half has made some decent saves to keep it at 2 goals. And yeah, kept her side in it in that first half. Really did.
Also, says Risha Littlejohn's a good player, so this must be the comedy section of this show. Home guard. Lacra back towards home guard. Mendes. Wide now to Navarro. Wide to Garcia, and 4 minutes of additional time. UEFA really wanting to make our gap between streams as narrow as possible. Ball slipped in behind. Benison will chase it. Gets around Shavas here. Can she find the cutback ball in? Denied well by Shavas. Got a touch on it and Silla on the line having to deal with it. Benison did well to get around the goalkeeper. Shavas did incredibly well to put her off. Just didn't really give her much of an angle to work with. And they dealt with it well. Who's been your player of the match then, Harry?
Oh, player of the match. It's a difficult one because I thought, again, players like Caicedo, Fella, they look sharp. Even Navarro's had a great second half, but I forgot she was on the pitch in the first half. I'd probably say Naomi Fella. Got the first goal, looked really sharp. Obviously, was fouled for the red card early doors, and overall had looked really bright throughout the game.
Ball in, and that runs through. I'm going to go Miley Shavas. Saved the penalty, made some big stops at point blank range. Can't take anything away from her performance. Couldn't have done much more, really.
Yeah.
I think both the goals, well, I mean, not really, couldn't have done anything like the second one and the first one. Probably could have done a little better, but I didn't. I thought she still had a really good game. Aside down to 10 players, she kept them in it for large parts. So, Miley Shavas, I think too often we give this based off results. Don't think Real Madrid have been anything special in this game. They've played against a 10-player side for 84 minutes of this game.
They've done the
job. Yeah. But I don't think they've excelled to any extent though.
Yeah. They did the bare minimum to win the game up against 10 players.
I was going to go a Real Madrid player, probably Ava Navarro. That delivery for the ball, for the goal was really good. Didn't really put a foot wrong outside of that. Like you say, you don't notice her, but you didn't notice her do anything bad. So
no, true.
Matteo gets in behind the defence here, back heels. Ball played in, cleared away well by Hongard. Loose ball picked up on by Ndongala, who's dispossessed, and Benison knocks in behind. Silla on hand to win it back, who gives it straight back to the flood of white shirts coming towards her. Mendes. Across to Lacra. Wide into Navarro. Carrying it forwards. Great pick off in there. From Mendy, wide to Boga. Still carrying it forwards. Nice move from Jedlinska. Good defender from Toletti to get back in there. And Misa Rodriguez trying to launch an attack. Korashek winning it back in there. Now Mendy losing out. Korashek again. Heading it forwards. Mendy and Ndongala still bouncing around. Mendy brought down. Free kick Paris FC. In a decent position.
Yeah. Mendy just caught that as she won the ball. There's actually 2 players on the floor for Paris FC. And they're going to get a late chance here to put a goal on the board. Yeah, a bit aggressive from Toletti. Just caught the elbow of Maylene Mondi. Bit of a weird one there. Wasn't too much in it, but enough to give the free kick. And, well, yes, Mendy to step up and have a crack at it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, can they find what would be only a consolation at this stage, but I mean, when we're talking in 15 years' time about Maylene Mondi's career, it will add to that number of goals. I'm sure there'll be many to come in that career. Player on loan from OL Lyonnais, highly regarded in the women's game. just 19 years old. Can she score again? Or will be Boga to take? Boga runs over it. Mendy takes aim. Straight into the wall. And hooked away. And that's out for a throw-in. And we're going to be pedantic about the throw. Referee in no rush to end this fixture. Ball thrown in, and that is the final whistle here in Madrid. Real Madrid 2, Paris FC 0, a 5-2 victory on aggregate. And Real Madrid, the first side, out of the knockout playoff rounds and into the quarter-final. So they will meet Barcelona at the end of March. A big match-up for them, a big result for them. And it was, well, pretty much game over after 4 minutes, as that Paris FC red card had a big impact on the game. We're going to cut early here because we're live again in just 10 minutes' time. So thank you guys very much for joining us for this earlier stream. We'll be live in 10 minutes. If you stay on this stream page, that will just take you over to that Arsenal-Leuven game. So stay exactly where you are and join us live in 10 minutes. That does everything. Thank you guys very much for watching, and we'll see you in a moment.